This is Jim Minion from Two Loose Screws. I'm listening to Barbecue Central.
Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, Bomb City, USA, otherwise known as the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, the live fire fun and frivolity show. If you want to jump in on the show this evening with a live fire take or question, or you have no idea how to follow the show and you need all that info, here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you get the newsletter. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, because 2023 and kind of 2022, at least on the later half, was all about griddles, flat tops, whatever you want to call it. We continue the talk here this evening with Weber's Grillmaster, Dustin Green, rejoining the show. Dustin had made his triumphant debut into the Barbecue Central show jungle last year, maybe about a year ago, right around about a year ago. And we were talking about whatever was new at Weber. At that time, I think it was the revamp of the Genesis line. That also encompassed that craft accessory portion that you could get in some of their models. So Dustin coming back on, we'll be talking about the newly released flat top cooker. We'll also be talking about flat top inserts if you have gas grills. We'll talk about the charcoal heat controller. And we'll talk about other things that Weber might be looking to release as we are just cresting into the barbecue and grilling season. If you operate in a barbecue and grilling season, most of us don't do that, but some of you might. As Memorial Day rolls closer and closer, the grills come out, and you definitively use those cookers from Memorial Day until Labor Day, and then as soon as Labor Day's done, put them all away. We'll see you again next season. Most of us don't do that, but some of us do. So we'll get the haps with Dustin Green, Weber's Grillmaster. And then after Dustin, it is the fourth Tuesday of the month in the first hour. And that, of course, will bring a visit from the bristly barbecue journalist and Barbecue Central's show guest Hall of Famer Derrick Riches from DerrickRiches.com. I have invented a new game with Derrick, and we're going to play it here this evening. It's called Weak or Strong. I have compiled a list of top brands, top manufacturers in the industry, and one by one, I don't know if Derrick checked the run sheet on this or not. Otherwise, he's going to be going really off the top of his head, but he's well-versed in this area. Of course, it is his area of expertise that he's been writing on for decades now. So I will give him the name of a brand or manufacturer, and he will tell me weak or strong. And most of the time, we'll just take them at face value, and we won't follow up. But some will probably require a follow-up. So we'll see how it goes with the first ever weak or strong game with Derrick, and then we'll also get into a little bit more live fire topics, not the least of which would be predictions as we get into the aforementioned grilling season, things that he things we'll be taking off or things we might be just finding out about as we get through the grilling season. So Derrick, always a great interview. And once again, he's at DerrickRiches.com. And then we'll move to the second hour. It is the fourth Tuesday of the month, as I had mentioned with Derrick. And in the second hour, it only means the refiring of the embedded correspondence segments. Now, what does that mean? Well, certainly it means that there is a brand new round of 100% assurity questions, which everybody loves to take part in. We are operating through Clubhouse, as I will mention here again in a second. So if you want to take part with us in giving us your 100% yes or 100% no answers during the assurity questions, I will pull somebody up if somebody's in there. And you can play along with the embedded correspondence and myself, and then we will drop through the assurity questions and get into some further topics. I am very excited about the topics here this evening, not the least of which is John Solberg. Brand new update from a month ago on his desire to take Instagram's full money. He wants to take all that money, so we'll see how he's continuing to operate, if pivots have to be made, and what he's doing, or if he's just like, you know what, trash it. I'm done trying to take everybody's money at Instagram, and we'll figure it out. So we will, and I promise we will get the update there. We'll get an update from Doug. We'll also get an update from Rusty, who's getting ready to announce a launch of something. So I'll tease it at that and leave it there until we get to the second hour. So a full second hour, if you want to take part. Once again, you'll join me on Clubhouse for that. And that's how it shakes out this evening. Dustin Green here shortly. Derrick Riches after him. Embedded correspondence will take the balance of the second hour. Don't forget you can follow me socially at BBQ Central Show. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Snapchat at BBQ Central Show. We say good evening to those of you watching through the various video streaming platforms, Facebook and Twitch /BBQ Central Show. You can also watch on YouTube /RD Rempe. Audibly streaming, as I had mentioned, over in the Clubhouse room, where we do have a grand total of one listener currently. And he might be the person that comes and plays 100% assurity. Who knows? Or maybe he'll be asleep by then. I don't know. You'll have to stay tuned to find out in the second hour. And we do have a new YouTube poll question of the week, which is this. Did you listen to this past Friday's Best Moments show, yes or no? Of course, many of you know that this past Friday's Best Moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 Minutes or Less segment was the first ever Barbecue Central show ever. Not live show, just first show ever. And currently, the poll sits this way. 57% of you are saying, yes, you did. 43% of you are saying no, but there aren't a huge amount of votes in yet, so we will continue to update you through the course of the show. And if I remember to ask my guests, which I think there's a good chance, so we got 3 guests in the second hour, and then Derrick, that's 4, so we got 5 total guests. I'm going to say at least 80% of the guests took in last Friday's show, the Best Moments. But we'll see about that. 62% now registering a yes, 38% now weighing in at a no. So just like that, it is increased on the yeses, which makes my ego feel good. But I'm just wondering, now that you have something to compare this show to all the way back from whence it began, what's your instant feedback? Hit me up on the chat. Would love to hear your take on the very, very first show ever. I played it in the car for somebody on Friday on the way down to hike some trucks over, and my coworker was laughing, going, this is the same show? This is what it sounded like in the beginning? Yes, that's what it sounded like. Nevertheless, you can go get it in podcast. That's all you have to do. If you have not subscribed to the podcast feed, I would highly recommend doing that, because that is really the only way you can get the Best Moments show, unless you are just a incredible fan of the website. And if you're an incredible fan of the website, that's certainly fine. You can get the clearinghouse of stuff right there. So let's start here tonight. How great was Jeremy Umansky last week? He ran the first hour in expert fashion. Really brought a ton of value to this whole Koji topic. What it is, how it works, what kinds there are, how to use them. It was also great to hear how we can use them on the 4 Big Barbecue Meats, because after all, this is a barbecue and grilling show. The 4 Big Meats have played a long-standing role in topics and content here on the show. So it was great to hear how to use them on the Big 4. And then, of course, for me especially, how to use it to mimic the dry-aged steak flavors. So if you missed that show last week, make sure you go back and get the replay on audio, or you can go to one of the video streaming platforms and get it that way. Dan in Florida writing in, Greg, I'm 100% bought in on the sound of your show. In fact, it has ruined me listening to most of the other shows for now. Jeremy sounded like he was in the studio with you Tuesday. In fact, if you only would have done the podcast listening, you could have said that he was in the studio. No one would have been any the wiser. On top of that, the whole rest of the show sounded just as good. Wes Wright sounded great. Daniel Vaughn sounded great. Wow, thank you for raising the bar when it comes to audio quality. I, for one, appreciate it. Dan in Florida. Thank you, Dan. Thank you for understanding my plight of raising the whole broadcast industry's sound quality to ensure the listener is having the foremost benefit and not having to put in any stress or hard work to hear what a guest is saying. Jeremy sounded like he was in studio. Who would have been any the wiser had I said that? You're right. Thanks for writing in, Dan. Dustin Green will be joining me here shortly. The Weber Grills Grillmaster, Pits and Spits, has the best-looking, best-cooking smokers and grills. Pits and Spits offers a full family of products, including traditional offset smokers, wood pellet grills, charcoal grills, travel grills, combination pits, fire pits, and much more. Pits and Spits has been one of the only American fabrication shops that's focused on smokers and grills for almost 40 years. What's important about that? Well, they're able to put an emphasis on quality and design, locally sourced materials, unmatched attention to detail. From the fully welded barrels to the heavy gauge steel, they bring both function and beauty to life. Pits and Spits builds every product with the intention that it's going to get passed down from generation to generation. Whether you're in competition barbecue or you just want to take the backyard barbecue and grilling game to the next level, you have to know this. There is a product for you in the Pits and Spits portfolio. Check them out at this custom link, pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central. That's Pits and Spits, all spelled out, .com/BBQ Central, and use promo code BBQ Central when you're checking out. And if you purchase something that's $500 or more, and if you're looking at one of their grills, way more than $500, so you're in already. At checkout, use the promo code BBQ Central. You get a free spice pack with your purchase of $500 or more. Now you can accumulate $500 in accessories if you want. I recommend buying that hybrid cooker with the pellet cooker on one side and the offset on the other, and that big, sexy main cooking chamber in the middle. And then start it off one way, finish the other. It's up to you. And then BBQ Central at checkout for the promo code. Get that free spice pack to use on that first set of ribs with your hybrid cooker from Pits and Spits. Pitsandspits.com, that's the website. We are back with Dustin Green right after this. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com for more information or to see what other products they have that might lend a little bit more smoky goodness to whatever it is you have on those pellet cookers. That's Cookin' Pellets, COOKIN, pellets.com. My first guest tonight is the Weber Grillmaster. Over the past few months, Weber has brought some new cookers and accessories to market. So why not talk a little bit more about them as we race to the hotline and welcome back our friend Dustin Green. All right, Dustin, so tell us about that new griddle and how it separates itself from the other options available in the market. And by the way, a year ago, there's probably not that many other options. It's Blackstone and maybe something else. But now there's a complement.
Yeah, Greg. Well, first off, thanks for having me. I
Absolutely.
appreciate you taking the time. The Weber Griddle. It's you look at the griddle business as a whole. It's huge, right? It's been popping. It's growing. There's different possibilities of food, everything you can do. And when we looked at how we want to innovate and what we wanted to put onto the market, I got to look at the pain points that people have, right? They don't last that long. Some of them, they got hot zones, cold zones, different makeups and that kind of stuff. And when we went to it, we looked at how do we address those. And it starts off with making them with quality materials, and then putting a warranty on it, living by it, and making sure that it's going to last.
When this is in the idea queue at the moment, does Weber go out and buy every single existing flat top on the market to put it through those paces, find those pain points, if you will, or is there a lot of scouring of social media to hear what people are saying with what's currently available on the market and then trying to make something that fixes those pains?
No, I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, if anybody's just kind of making assumptions based off of what they're reading, I mean, everybody's got to kick the wheels, right? I mean, you got to try it, you got to cook on it, you got to see what it does and figure it all out, and then you figure out how do you make it better.
All right, so let's talk about what separates itself aside from quality materials, warranty. Tell me fit, finish, function, all the good stuff.
Well, I mean, we've been in the gas grill market since 1985 when we released the Genesis. So we really, we addressed what our burners have in those. We transferred it over for use within, a griddle. And I mean, they're efficient. They got great evenness of heat. And you put that into a griddle, and it makes a cooktop that you can really have, zone cooking if you want to go with the high and low and different stuff like that. The versatility of the foods that you can cook within that. And, it's not only that, but, we put a extra large grease management system into the thing. You look at, where you're going to put it, how are people going to use it, and really try to think through a consumer's thoughts on what are they doing, how are they cooking, and what do they want it to, where do they want it to be better.
Dustin Green joining us here on the show, Weber's Grillmaster, Weber.com, the website at Weber Grills on social if you do that thing. So a year ago, I probably didn't even think about how even is the temperature from one side to the other and, from front to back. That seems to be what a lot of folks are saying as they're bringing whatever their particular flat top is to market. So how do you make sure that you're standing up to what you're claiming? What goes into that?
Well, for us, and I can really only speak to that. It's what are you cooking? There's people that do bread tests. There's people that are going to cook a lot of pancakes, and really, you just want to put something that's going to be a consistent size, a consistent temperature. You spread it across your cooktop, and you cook it for the same amount of time. And you flip it over. You take your pictures. If it's not right, you address it. What do you have to do? Do the burners have to be more spread out? Do you have to put more BTUs? Do you have to take BTUs out? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to address what you're seeing, but you really got to put food onto it first and see what it's doing.
How long is it being messed with? How many iterations do you go through before you get to one that you feel is worthy of releasing into the market with a Weber name behind it?
Well, it's different with every grill. I mean, some of them do better earlier on than others, and other ones take a little bit more time depending on what we're working with. It's, there is no set time. It's when we are happy with the product itself and we feel like consumers are going to be happy with it as well.
So was this one kicking around for 3-4 years, or was it a little bit more express?
No, this specific one. Yeah, this one, I think our griddle, it was probably, 12 to, say, 18 months that it was kind of kicking around.
Sizes and price points available?
We have two sizes, 2 price points. We got a 28-inch griddle that's coming in at $449, and then we have a 36-inch coming in at $579. One of them's about a little bit over 500 square inches of cooking, and the other one's a little bit over 700. So, a lot more space. It's, how many people you're cooking for? What are you cooking? I know for me, I'm a 36-inch guy. I got to have that much space.
36 and 28 seem to be the standard offerings from pretty much everybody. Mm-hmm. Do you offer that because that's what everybody else has, or do you find that those measurements seem to fit best?
A little bit of both. It's there's a expectation within the market of what people want to see and what they expect, and then the other one is the quality of the cook going to fit with the size that it fits. You can make one that's 50 inches for what you want, but is it going to be even? Is it going to be hot? Is it going to be cold? And it's trying to find that ratio to get that perfect scenario.
Whatever one you get, 28 or 36, you get it in the backyard. How do we get it up and running, ready for that first cook?
For us at Weber, and like I said, we kicked the tires on a lot of them. We went through a lot of different processes. For us, I'm going to take that out of the box. I'm going to mild soap and water. I'm going to wash the cooktop. I'm going to dry it off. I'm going to coat it with either the Weber branded like wax that we sell, or I even just hit it with a regular like corn oil or vegetable oil. Give it a nice even rub down so that the oil just kind of, no blotchiness, no streaks, that kind of stuff. Then I'm going to turn it on to a medium high setting and I'm going to let it smoke. Give it about 10 to 15 minutes, cool it down all the way. It takes about 30 to 40 minutes, and I'm going to repeat it twice. And for us, what we found by bringing that oil up from a cold state to the medium to hot state is it really gives it that time to stabilize and create a beautiful seasoning versus starting with it warm and then that oil breaking down a lot quicker on the back end.
Was there talk about doing something different with the cooking surface? In other words, some kind of a Teflon coating or already seasoned, something that the end user doesn't have to go through whatever the perceived hoops might be of having to get this thing all ready to go?
There always is, Greg. Honestly, we looked at a porcelain enameled cast iron top. We looked at, different finishes on them so that you don't have to season them out of the box. And when we were looking at where we wanted to be in the market and the quality that we wanted to be at, to get in and, start our process of playing in the griddle market, this is where we're starting.
Favorite things to cook on it? Dustin Green talking here, of course.
Yeah. On the griddle?
Yeah.
Me, fried rice all day long. And I can tell you I've cooked more pancakes than anybody else out there ever. I don't think I want to look at another pancake. But fried rice is incredible. And then in my house, you can't go wrong. Tacos all day.
Do you enjoy smash burgers or are they played?
For me, I like smash burgers, but I like to change them up a little bit and change the grinds. Maybe put a little bit of bacon in there, put a little bit of sausage, do something to it so it's just not a ball of beef with salt and pepper on it, and just do something that's got some flair. It's got a little character to it.
After you get it done, from a maintenance standpoint, initially, how do you want to care for it and maintain it over the course of grilling seasons?
Well, we talked about the seasoning process. That's the most important part. For me, as long as I don't leave a lot of food on the surface, I give it a nice clean scrape. I'm going to wipe it down. I got a towel that I have dedicated just for my flat top, but then I give it a little bit of oil, like right at the end, and just seal it back up. But I make sure that I get everything off of it and just put that oil back on there. It just seals it back up from the seasoning process, and it's ready to go to the next time.
Blackstone has roughly 80% of the market. I don't think there's like truly accurate and or definitive claims on that, but I think it's widely accepted. They're pretty much the major player in the market. So how does a manufacturer, whether it's smaller or a major manufacturer like Weber, claw back some of that given Blackstone's dominance in the segment?
We really just be who we are. We're Weber. We build quality products. We stand behind them, and we just want to get people out there and grilling. The more that people can grill, the more that people show interest in this market, and it'll grow. Now, hopefully they come to us and they buy ours because we think it's better than everybody else's. But, the best thing we can do is just keep putting quality things out there.
Did you ever think we'd get to a point where griddle cookers would be as big as they are?
It's hard to say. I mean, you think about it, and pizza's getting real big right now too, and griddles are out there as well. I think people are looking to expand on what they're cooking, and what griddles do is it opens that up, between your grilled cheeses and whatever else you want to throw on there. But not to say that you can't do that on grilling, but you see people trying to add to their arsenal and add to what they're going to cook.
Dustin Green joining us here on the show, Weber's Grillmaster. I don't know how much you can speak on this, but let me ask you anyway. From an expectations of sales standpoint from the corporate folks, lots of people have Weber gas grills. Tons of people have Weber kettle grills. Is there a real thought that these will sell rapidly to work in addition to people's gassers or charcoal grills? This is something that will be a complementary product?
It's what we're seeing, yes. It's a second, third, fourth grill into people's backyards, and that's the great part about it. It's additional sale. You also look at the accessories, because when you're cooking on griddling, a lot of folks want those accessories, whether it's a basting dome or a flexible spatula or the oil bottles that are kind of coming with it. It gives people what you try to do with those accessories is you try to make it easy for people to cook the food that they want to cook. And griddling does that. On the other end, we have our full griddle insert that we came out with too to add to your Genesis. But the thought with that one is, what if like that person may not have the space on their patio or backyard for a griddle or for an extra cooker? So you try to think, to be able to include everybody into that segment. How do you do it?
So you dovetail nicely right into my next question, which was how well are the griddle inserts selling?
Crazy. Crazy enough that we can't keep them in stock.
Can it hurt the sale of the freestanding griddle?
It's hard to say. I don't know if we have those numbers yet, but when we looked at it, like I said, it was, you got your freestanding, it's an additional, and then you got your insert. It's for those folks that may not have that space. Also, their significant other might not want them to have another piece back there. We're all not that fortunate that your wife or husband or whoever's cooking can get all those fun toys.
So I was speaking with Roger Daly at HPB Expo a couple weeks ago in Louisville, and he's obviously the owner of Blackstone, and he said he thought at some point, maybe not in the too distant future, that griddles themselves could command 35 to 40% of the overall live fire cooking market. Agree or disagree?
I personally, I'd say disagree, but that's a personal thing. I don't see the numbers, the analytics. For me, I love both, but I just cooked on my Traveler grill today. Like I don't take my griddle out all the time. I still like grilled food. I think there's going to be people that'll say yes.
One of the newly released products from Weber, and I just talked about it with Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com last week, was the Weber charcoal heat controller.
Mm-hmm.
And prior to this product, I think the only thing that almost kind of looked and felt like it a little bit was that vortex that would go in a kettle cooker. But that was really more of a higher heat and direct convection type of a thing. How does the charcoal heat controller work specifically?
Well, like you mentioned, it does the high heat. You want to put in the middle, you pop your charcoal into it, it's going to bounce it off the lid. We know what it's going to do, right? It's going to give you some beautiful crispy wings, all that kind of great stuff. Where it stands itself apart, though, is that the baffle that's on top. You've been in grilling segment for a long time. All the people that talk about like a snake method and running low and slow and all that kind of stuff. What we've done with that heat controller is we figured out that you could literally just pour your charcoal in there. I don't have to sit there and place every briquette, in its row and do a 2x2 or a 2x3 or whatever. I can just dump some of that bag in, I light it up and I let it run and it stays lit. So it allows people to keep that low and slow without having to, line up and do all that kind of fancy stuff. And it maintains its temperatures. That thing will run 250 for a long time.
So I'm reading the instant chat here, trying not to get lost in it while I'm actually conducting an interview, and one after the other person is going, in the end, my favorite cooker is a Weber kettle. Yeah. Are you seeing an uptick in charcoal cookers this year by chance?
A little of both. I mean, I think we're seeing a little uptick in everything just across the board. The kettle always carries itself. I mean, just from a quality standpoint, from a price standpoint, and it's a lot of folks' first grill and step into the market itself. And for us, we're just so proud of it, and it's been around for 70 years, and it's continuously does its thing.
So a couple months ago, the Lumen is brought to market, which is an electric grill, and I'm going to be very honest. I'm disappointed in its size. I thought that this was going to be the second real entrant into what we're calling the full-size electric grill market, like something that you would see as a Genesis or a Spirit that size. Charbroil has one called the Edge, but I thought Weber was going to be the next manufacturer to bring one into market, further justifying my call for full-size electric grills here in 2023 being a thing. Is that something that's being worked on? Full-size electric grill?
It is, and I think it sounds like you're pretty versed in electric itself. But I mean, we all know here in the U.S. and across the board, we're a little handcuffed with what you have to work with. And the outlet's only going to put out what it's going to put out, and to be able to give somebody like say a true grilling experience through electric, it's coming. Don't get me wrong. The Lumen does a phenomenal job for what it is, and I'm sorry to hear if you wish it was bigger. I for its size, for cooking for a family of four, you can get all your food on there for it. The compact, a little bit smaller. But it does pack a good punch. I mean, that thing will get over 600 degrees in 15 minutes. It's got the versatility kits that helps you with the steaming, smoke infusion, all the different stuff that's to it. I'd say just be patient.
Let's change it up. Let's talk a little business, however you can. How much better position is Weber in now that we've made the move back to a private company from being public?
I'd say it's just different. There's disclosures that we had to do, as most public or publicly traded companies do, and privately we just operate on a different level and different scale. I can't really kind of dive into the gist of more than that and say whether I think it's good or bad. I'm indifferent. I get up every day, go to work just at the office the same as I did before. We do the same job as we did, and we try to put out quality products.
Do you have any personal thought on why Weber decided to make the run at public when they did?
No, I'm not privy to that kind of stuff.
Would you have done it if you were running the company?
I don't know.
I'm the grill master for crying out loud, right?
I'm happy. Like I said, I get to cook on Weber's every day, and that's you get it all the time. How do you get a job like yours? And I just say, I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate to work for a great company in a great city and cook on some of the best grills in the world.
What's the plan of attack, like as we're getting into grilling season, look like for Weber? Any new things coming out, or anything you want to at least tease or scoop?
Well, I mean, we're always innovating. We talked a little bit about electric. We have the charcoal heat accessory. I think we're going to concentrate on those quality products we put out. We're going to get some education out there for people. Hit up the social media, and how do we interact with with consumers and get them comfortable using these. And we'll see what 24 can bring. And I could tell you, we had a lot of things that we're working on. But as with R&D, just because you're working on it doesn't mean it's going to get to market.
The last handful of years, it's been heavy tech on grills in some form or fashion. Is that a trend that you consider? Not a trend. Is that something that you think will continue on? It's just table stakes at this point. Anything that you're going to make outside of like a traditional kettle grill like for Weber, but anything else is going to need to have some kind of tech on board to remain competitive in the market?
Well, I think we're going to see tech kind of come into a little bit of everything, and for the time being, and I don't know for how long, but there's always going to be the people that like tech, and then there's going to be people that aren't interested in tech. So I can see these things running side by side. There's going to be it's like cell phones, right? There's still folks out there that got flip phones for whatever reason. They like them, but they're still there. It's the same with grilling. There's people that are diehards. They want the tech. They love the tech. They live and die by apps and that kind of stuff. And then there's other folks that just want to go out there. They want to light their charcoal. They want to do it caveman style and feel the food without using a thermometer. So there's a little bit of both.
You doing any like personal appearances or cooking classes coming up that people might be able to take part in, depending on where they're at?
A couple things we got going on. I'll be in Phoenix at one of our retailers in April 14th or April 15th, I think. Out there, we're doing a class with Barbecue Island, one of our guys. We'll be working with another retailer. I'll be at Memphis in May coming up. And then I know I have, it's not a public event. I got a charity event that we're doing with Operation Barbecue Relief coming up in May as well.
This is Weber's Grillmaster. You know him as Dustin Green, friend of the show. You can go to Weber.com to see all the products and, of course, follow him on social at Weber Grills. Dustin, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.
You got it. That's Dustin Green right there. Weber.com, again, the website. And if you are in the mood and or market to test out what's available on the flat top segment, Weber has an offering. Check them out. Or electric lumen. Full size? No, but as Dustin said, certainly spacious enough to accommodate and feed a family of four, getting to 600 degrees inside of 15 minutes, so good power there. And he's not the only one talking about limitation on power. It appears the Charbroil is the only one who doesn't appear affected by just plugging into a traditional outlet and going from there. We might have to check in with Derrick Riches to get a re-review on the Edge and see all about that. But a lot of people at HPB Expo were also saying, you got to have 220. You're going to need a 220 installed in order to really get an electric grill that does some stuff. So we'll see about that. So we thank Dustin Green from Weber. Before we get to Mr. Riches, we will talk about Primo cookers because we love ceramic cookers, right? Yeah, what do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We love that you can get rip-roaring hot for high temperature of grilling steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday lineup of ceramic cookers? The ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking, very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker is not very realistic. Why? Because it's round. Enter Primo Grills and their game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute that two-zone setup that you desire. It also gives you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. And if you stop to think about it, or you don't even think about it, you can cook up to 60 different ways on this Primo. So you're only limited by your culinary imagination. Accessories to the gills at this point, only sold through dealers, so find one near you. PrimoGrill.com. That's PrimoGrill.com. Here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz, yes. Patented technology, of course. True two-zone cooking capabilities, I just said that. A multitude of oval sizes, oh yes. Go to the dealer, touch, feel, and hug the oval that best fits you, and then take it home. You'll be educated because the dealer's teaching you. And then have fun right out of the box. Don't forget, if the XL isn't big enough for you, now they're rolling out the XXL. And if you follow me on social, you saw pictures of that at the expo as well. PrimoGrill.com. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook. We're back with Derrick Riches right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
And we thank Dustin Green for joining us last segment. This portion being brought to you by Fireboard 2, Fireboard 2 Dry, Fireboard 2 Pro, and Fireboard Spark. On those other Fireboards, sans Spark, you can monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. You connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring, or connect via the red, white, and Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or the Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck. Fireboard fully integrated with all of those. You can find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. Hey, it's the 4th Tuesday of the month, and that means it's time to go to the hotline and welcome in the most respected barbecue journalist in the world of live fire, a Barbecue Central Show's guest Hall of Famer. Check him out on his website, DerrickRiches.com, the aforementioned Derrick Riches. Derrick, great to have you back.
Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Have you lost weight?
No.
Are you
I
sure?
don't think so. Maybe? I mean,
you look fit as a fiddle. I'm not saying you were fat before, but you seem a little more svelte. You stopped going to all the great barbecue restaurants in Austin?
I don't know. I've been just busy doing stuff, I guess.
All right. Well, that's great. Now I have to get my screen correct here because guess what? We're going to do a first ever Let's Play a Game with Derrick Riches. Derrick, do you want to play a game?
Sure.
All right. Before we get going tonight, Derrick, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I literally walked in the door 2 minutes ago. So, hi, I'm Derrick Riches, and I write about barbecue stuff.
All right. Well, let's play
25 years.
The game. Like 25. Who's counting?
Yeah.
Derrick, while it seems like we're playing Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, what we're really playing is Weak or Strong.
Okay.
Are there any wrong answers? Probably not. We're just looking for your 2 decade and 1/2 of another decade years of experience and giving us the answers weak or strong. I have compiled a exhaustive list of brands and manufacturers. I will give you the name and you will just say weak or strong. Got it?
Okay. All
Here
right.
we go. First one up. Blackstone.
Strong.
Big green egg.
Strong.
Really?
Yeah.
Yoder smokers.
Strong.
Weber.
Weak.
Masterbuilt.
Weak. Are you saying I'm wrong?
No, that's the weak sound. Bull outdoor grills and kitchens.
Weak.
Wow. Traeger.
Traeger. I'm gonna have to say weak.
Okay, I didn't see that one coming. We continue.
I can explain why.
We're not digging in. We're just taking your years, decade, and one half of a decade experience in weak or strong answers. Next one, Green Mountain Grill.
That one depends.
That's not an answer. It's weak or strong.
It's not an answer. It's strong,
All
but
right.
has a problem.
Yeah. To the previous answer. Yeah. Coyote.
Coyote. That one I'm gonna go with. Weak.
Mac Grills.
Weak. We're talking company, not product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Camp Chef.
Weak.
Rectech.
I'm gonna have to go with weak on Rectech.
Pits and Spits.
Strong.
I agree with that. Primo.
Yeah, I know what you want me to say.
I mean, I have a feeling. I don't want you to say anything.
That's a real ish for me.
All right. What ish is it? It's more.
I would more strong, but really just over the line.
It's one or the other. It's so if you're just over the line, you're strong. We'll keep it. We'll keep it as strong. Kamado Joe.
Weak.
Next Grill.
Strong.
Cook Shack.
God, I love Cook Shack. I love the people. I just they aggravate me though. I have to say weak.
Pit Barrel.
Strong.
Oh, wrong one.
That works too.
Smokin' Brothers.
I like Smokin' Brothers. Talked to them on many occasions.
All right.
They could be strong.
No, it's strong or weak.
Let's just go with strong,
Right.
but just over the line.
Oklahoma Joe.
Weak.
I disagree. I think they're strong. Charbroil.
They just got a new CEO too.
Yeah.
It's an annual thing, I swear. Weak.
And now we're coming into the home stretch. Blaze.
They shouldn't be, but they're strong.
Napoleon.
Strong.
Z Grill.
Probably the strongest. Z Grills. Strong.
Wow, we got a run going. Halo.
Weak.
Grilla Grills.
Weak.
Danson's.
Weak.
Broil King.
Not as strong as they should be. But
Not
strong.
an answer.
Okay, strong.
Oh, all right.
Real
And
strong.
where is it? What'd I do with it? Oh, here it is. Hey, guess what? That's going to do it for this edition of Weak or Strong. We thank our contestant, Derrick Riches, for playing. You can find him at derrickriches.com. Derrick, we have some wonderful parting gifts for you. Namely, which is you get to hang around for a couple more minutes and talk about more live fire stuff. So, lucky you.
Yay!
That was fun. A little change of pace, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are there more stuff for me to cover, like in a quarter from now, or we got to do this again next year and see where everybody else sits?
We can certainly do it again in a year. It can change pretty rapidly, and
Right.
I probably made a lot of enemies.
Let me single
in 5
out
minutes, but
one of the brands that we just mentioned, namely Broil King. I met Terry Witzel at the HPB Expo a couple weeks ago in the historic city of Louisville, Kentucky. And so I knew of the name. I think I have to know all the names that are out there. Otherwise, I'm not necessarily doing my job, but I didn't know the nuts and the bolts and the guts of that company. And I didn't realize the size. I didn't realize they have 3 manufacturing plants, 2 of which are right here in the United States, the other one in Canada. I didn't realize how global in sales that they were. Why aren't they more well-known? Or in other words, I don't know if people going to buy a new grill, regardless of fuel preference, because they run the line there as well, are thinking about Broil King as a brand to buy. Agree or disagree?
oh, absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Right before the border shut down, and I was actually up there with them for several days. Had dinner with Terry and his family, and they're really nice, and they're extremely excited about what they do. And you're right, they are North America's largest manufacturer of outdoor cooking equipment. They have a lot going for them. They really do. And years at this. I mean, the company itself is 110 years old, actually. I mean, they made pens. I think their first product was ballpoint, was fountain pens and vacuum cleaners and all sorts of different things. And then they went all in on grills and grilling in like the 80s.
They were a Weber distributor in Canada for a long time before they became Broil King.
Yeah, they were known as the Weber of Canada and the only licensed distributor of Weber products in Canada. So, they had like control of, all of that for Canada. And they have just this huge product portfolio.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got gas grills, they've got charcoal grills, they've got pellet grills, they've got smokers, they've got a massive line of accessories. They're always coming up with new stuff. I mean, it's a family business. The Witzels have owned it forever, and we're in basically the 3rd generation of the company. And they were really big. I mean, they were a big company doing all sorts of manufacturing. Terry's dad owned 6 Jag E-types and left one to each one of his kids. Terry still shows it off in his garage. It's like, wow, that's cool.
He's a big fan. He's a big fan of the Jag for sure.
Yes. Well, it's hard to argue with an E-type. I love that car.
Yeah.
And I think it breaks down to almost like messaging. They're big. They're in lots of stores. I mean, they've been in Lowe's for a very long time with a wide range of distribution. But what I see constantly happening is, here's a grill we've put out for this year. It's updated and all this sort of stuff. And then it shows up in some stores and then it's gone, or they can't get enough made, or the distribution is wonky.
Hmm.
There's somehow some kind of disconnect between them and the company and the consumer, because you're absolutely right. It's like I've been saying for years, it's like, you want an affordable gas grill, look at Broil King.
Yep.
They have a wide range of, I will argue, way too many models. I mean, they've been north of 30 in gas grill models alone.
Wow.
It's too much stuff.
So what's the fix? Like, I'm a fan. I think I don't even own one, but going through, Terry kind of gave me the tour of products, but more importantly than that, where the mindset is on North American manufacturing, how they're trying to absolutely purposefully minimize any Chinese content going onto these grills. Everything that an American wants to hear, except, doling out what an American-made grill would cost. I mean, here's somebody that's doing it as best they can. The quality of manufacturing appears to be very high level. It's not breaking your bank. It's going to be something that hangs around for a long time. And they have a shitload of replacement parts should you need them. And it doesn't matter how old your grill is. You can get replacement parts for that. It appears they have a lot of the most important things going for them, except nobody knows. So how do you fix it? When you get ready to answer a question, Derrick, and you let out that sigh, that doesn't make me feel that good.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not giving you confidence. Okay, I get you. Here's the problem. The problem is that in some ways they're still thinking like the 20th century. They'll get a burst of social media sort of stuff. They'll try and work on brand stuff, but they're not hitting their messaging. They're not hitting something that resonates with people. I know that in many products that their margins are real tight. They're not doing huge profits on a lot of the the gas grills and stuff like that. And that's indicative of this business. The grill industry has always had profit problems. You do huge volumes and lose money, and you see that a lot. But they've been stable. They've been operating. They've got, they've actually got some pretty innovative ideas in their manufacturing. You go through one of their factories. I've toured their factories. It's like, you're sitting there, you're talking to somebody. I've been, working the line here for 30 years and my kid's over there. And it's like, okay, this is a good job. They take good care of their people. They're responsible to their people. They are, absolutely dedicated to doing everything in North America they possibly can. And they're one of the last companies still doing it. But they've got to hit something that's going to put them out in people's eyes. I mean, you look like 3 years ago, Napoleon launched that Phantom line of gas grills, which was just, hey, we're going to paint them matte black and put some really cool lights on it. They got a ton of attention for it. It was a good grill. Napoleon makes a great product. I really like Napoleon. It's a messaging issue that they've got to reach people better than they are. And they've got to do it in a way where they can say, hey, look, because I will put many of their gas grills against, Weber Genesis.
Yeah.
I'll put them against, a lot of, for the price, I think they're the best. They're the best manufacturer in the business. In everything. Their pellet grill is great. It's phenomenal. I mean, not only that, but it's like they rate their stuff to work in Canadian winters.
Yeah.
So their gas grills are hotter than anything anyone else produces. Their pellet grills will hold 600 degrees when it's minus 20, because I've actually been out there standing there watching this thing run at 600 degrees and minus 20 degree weather. And it's like, yeah, they've got that for them. But honestly, and I've actually, I've talked with Terry and I've talked with some of his brothers and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, we try to get some of these, heavyweights in barbecue to kind of come up and take a look at our stuff. And they're like, no, there's a mutual friend of ours that just kind of like, went, no, I don't care about your stuff. You don't rate for me. I don't see you as a big company. It's like, they're a huge company.
Yeah.
They're globally distributed. They're big in Europe.
Yeah.
They've got big following in a lot of markets, but they just can't seem to get the US market to go, hey, this is what we should, look, I will tell people, look, if you're looking for an under $1,000 gas grill, find Broil King. Buy that one. It's better. It's hotter. It'll last longer than anything else on the market. And I've been saying this for years, and people are like, well, I don't know. It's like,
that's
fine.
just it, right? I don't know. Of course.
Yeah.
I don't know because I don't know. All right. What are you working on that we should be going over to DerrickRiches.com to be caught up?
I am in the midst of updating all the product content, calculating in all the price changes that have been going on.
Okay.
High-end market's gone insane, I swear. The Kalamazoo grill has just broke 35,000.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I think they've just gone full-scale crypto, bro.
Yeah.
What?
Because they can, right? Why does anybody do
that's
anything?
just it. There's a certain amount of they can. And
there's obviously enough market where those people say, I want to say I spent $35,000 on it.
But, for the rest of us, check out Broil King. Honestly.
Right. Yes. Please.
And they don't pay me anything.
Or me.
Or you anything. But I think both of us have kind of seen what they've got to offer and gone, this is good.
Yeah. The next grill I buy is going to be a Broil King for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I would recommend it.
Derrick Riches can be found at DerrickRiches.com. Go look at his newly updated content and see how crazy the premium market has gotten in grills. And you can see him right here on the show the last Tuesday of every month here in the 35 past the first hour segment. Derrick, always appreciate the time, and we will see you again in April.
Thanks for having me on.
You got it. Hey, Derrick Riches right there. And you can follow him on the associated social media channels as well, or just visit the website, DerrickRiches.com. Inspired conversation. And what a great game. I know when somebody's had a good time, and he's had a great time. Big Papa Smokers is the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue, a curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies, getting you on the path to better barbecue results in no time. Everything has been Pitmaster approved by Sterling Big Papa Ball himself, from the award-winning smokers and rubs to everything else you might need to make you a better outdoor cook. 13 perfectly balanced flavors of the rubs and seasonings. I just got a fresh delivery, a 5-pound bag of Sweet Money. It's my favorite. Also got a couple shakers of Cattle Prod and Cash Cow, double secret steak rub. So now my meat game will be back on par, so looking forward to that. Of course, if you are looking for a new go-to barbecue sauce, they own Granny's barbecue sauce as well, so give that a try. And they're selling cookers, American-made cookers. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Cooker. If you don't know what grill you need, call them 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727, or shop their website at bigpapasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. We are back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
Hey, welcome back. We thank Derrick Riches for joining us. Got this on the instant chat while we were talking with Derrick Riches from Buzzed BBQ Company. Who the F is this guy again? Who, Derrick Riches? The guy that invented barbecue journalism 30 years ago? Who's he? Hey, if you're new to the game, that's Derrick. Derrick was a regular on the show for a time, then he stopped being a regular. Now he's back to being a regular again. A Barbecue Central Show guest, Hall of Famer, legend in the barbecue and grilling industry and somebody that remains as unbiased as it comes when talking about grills and smokers and everything live fire related. Hey, we're headed to the second hour, so refresh your libations. I'll refresh mine, and we'll see you here in just a few moments. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
This is John Dawson of Patio Daddy-O Barbecue in Boise, Idaho, and I've got it locked on the 50,000 gigawatt blowtorch of the internet that is Barbecue Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet or wiener.
But listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. You are watching the Barbecue Central Show. And if you're getting it in podcast, you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show, where we only cover the highest aligned items of importance in the barbecue and grilling industry, or as we call it, the live fire. I was having a meeting with a couple guys, high-level top men in the industry. And I didn't put myself fully out there, because you know me, I love to live in the world of contradiction and hypocrisy. I might have said, hey, I'm pretty sure I'm the one that has made the term live fire en vogue over these last 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. That's my term. I'm the one that says it all the time. A lot of people go, what does that even mean, live fire? Oh, that's a term I started. Oh, you did? Yes, it is. Okay, well, they're very impressed with that. By the way, the show originating from
Palm City, USA. Cleveland.
Still to come on the show this evening, the embedded correspondents will join me in about 12 minutes from now. We say good evening to those of you watching the show tonight through one of the video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook or Twitch/BBQ Central Show to watch. You can also watch via the YouTubes /RD Rempe. And now we will update you with the YouTube poll question of the week, which, by the way, is: did you listen to this week's Best Moments show, this past Friday's show? And currently, 55% of you are saying, yes, you did. Which means 45% are saying, no, you didn't.
Uh-oh. Get that freak stuff out of here.
Why? Like, for the people that don't listen to the Best Moments show, especially this past Friday, which was the first show ever done ever. Not first live show, first show ever. Do you not subscribe to the podcast feed? Are you only a live listener to the show? So Tuesdays is the only time you consume it, and you do it through 120 minutes, and then boom, it's over? That's the only thing I can think of. If you subscribe to the podcast feed, there's no reason that you shouldn't have listened to the Best Moment show from this past Friday, so you could have heard the best, not the best show, but the first show ever. I'm of the mind that you're just a live listener. That's fine. If you're just a live listener, a live watcher, a live consumer of the show Tuesdays from 9 to 11, you are the hardiest of hardy Centralites, no doubt about it. There could be 100 other things you might be up to on a Tuesday night, but no. You are right here staunchly. Maybe you're a big YouTube person and you just fall into it. I don't know. But do yourself a favor. At least go back to the website. You don't have to use a podcast platform if you don't want to, but listen to the first Best Moment show this past Friday. As far as what's coming up on the Best Moment show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday, well, part 2. Because John didn't want to, let's say, F with the integrity of the first show ever and pull just the best 10 minutes out of it. He wanted to keep it as intact as possible, so he split that show up into 2 shows, going back to back to give you the full first show ever experience in as much contact and context as possible. So once again, if you would like to go and subscribe to the podcast feed, this coming Tuesday, you will get the second half of the first show I ever did. And if you didn't subscribe or you didn't listen to the first show and you have now made plans to listen to the show on Friday this coming, listen to the show from last Friday first, so at least you have the first part in your pocket, and it will make a lot more sense to you. Will it be any better in sound quality, content, or inflection in my voice? No.
Get that big stuff out of here.
But at least it will make sense to you. And again, this show's coming from 2006, September of 2006. So compare that to what you're hearing here in 2023. Maybe you like it better. I had a lot of people that said it was inspiring listen last Friday, and they can't wait for the second part this coming Friday. Okay, I'm happy to hear that. Don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or segment again on this show that might be now lost in the archives, email John from Michigan, Jon at thebbqcentralshow.com. That's Jon at thebbqcentralshow.com, and let him know what you would like to hear. Now, I'm not usually look at me guy when it comes to cookers, but in this instance, look at me! I'm almost 100% sure, and as a matter of fact, I believe I'm 100% sure that I can say this. No one in the U.S. of A. has the grill that I have posted up in my garage right now. I believe it is actually what people call in the watch world one of one. At least for now. The reason I know that the exclusivity of it is because I know who makes it, and I know that there is nobody currently retailing that anywhere in the United States.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Now, maybe that changes. Definitely not at this moment. So make sure you're following me on social as I start to use it. I give you some feedback on it, but let's say this. While we have seen at least one set the temperature on the grill thermostatically controlled style of grill, which is the Charbroil Edge on the market today, this one in my garage, truly a thermostatically controlled grill. You don't have to plug it in. There's some technology in there. There's a valve of some sort that makes it a true thermostatically controlled grill. It can run both as an oven, so you're going to set the temperature, thermostatic, right? Or you can switch it to grill and operate it with the levers, the burner, the knobs, burner knobs, as you would a traditional gas grill. And then once you decide you want to put it back into the oven mode, do a quick change on the center dial, and it kicks it right into oven mode. So I thank my good friend James for that one. Remember, rule number 1 of the show applies, at least on this one. No names, please. We will just refer to him as James. So, James, thank you, and looking forward to using it here this coming weekend or week, depending on how things shake out here and what the weather's like. I don't know, but follow me on social if you would care to see this thing get put in. If you do follow me on social, I made a very, was it 1 or 2 fairly redacted posts in my story, so if you didn't see it within the last 48 hours, it's certainly gone at this point, but I did try to share and tease a little bit, but again, I think it's one of one right now, and it might only be one of one. Somebody might not pick it up and decide to bring it here in the States. It is something that can happen. I'm not sure exactly how that business is transacted, but you might be interested in seeing a one of one as we roll it out. Mark in Iowa writing in, Greg, at the beginning of the month during the Sam the Cooking Guy segment, when you mashed in Chris Young from Combustion Inc., did you drop the C word while Sam was on? Mark! How dare you? Did I drop the C word, cook? Or do you mean the C word, you know? Mark goes on to say, I replayed it 5 times, and I'm pretty sure you did. Wow, you don't hear that one getting tossed around very often. I think I want to congratulate you, but I also think I want to be offended. Love the show and love when Sam is on, especially podcast listener only. Regards, Mark. Mark, I am not going to confirm or deny if I used the C word. While I traditionally make it a habit when the shows drop into the podcast feed to go back and listen back to the show to hear how I sound. Make sure that my words are right, not if I'm dropping certain words. I don't recall saying the C word. Thousands of people listen to that particular segment, of course. And I have the statistics to prove it because people were stopping me at the HPB Expo telling me how much they liked that specific segment. Nobody said, oh, by the way, I heard you call Sam the C word. So unless you can produce audio catching me in a lie or being a hypocrite, which is where I love to be, I will remain steadfast in my decline that I used such a word, especially to my pal Sam. Nor would I recklessly throw that around with other guests in the room, like Chris Young, one of the smartest men in the industry, co-author of Modernist Cuisine, creator of Combustion Inc. Why would I throw such nastiness around with elites like that in the room? But never. How dare you?
How dare you?
Thank you, Greta. Hey, the embedded correspondents are ready to rock. Since 1991, the National Barbecue and Grilling Association has been the voice of the barbecue and grilling industry by helping members network and learn from proven professionals. The leader of this gang, Cal Phelps, and I say gang with affection, looks to take the history of the organization and bring it to its best heights ever here in 2023. If you are somebody that is in the business of barbecue, maybe you have a restaurant, you're starting a rub line or a rub and sauce line or a rub sauce and injection line or a rub sauce injection and soak line. You get the idea. Maybe you're like Rusty. You got a food trailer. You want some support. You got questions on that kind of stuff. You want to join the NBBQA. Plenty of professionals to lean on. Lots of information to glean from these folks who are successful in the industry. If you're not sure how to get a startup off the ground or how to get your trailer legal, there's got to be somebody in your state that's a member. They would be happy to talk to you. How do you find out more about it? Visit the website, nbbqa.org. That's nbbqa.org, not .com, .org. Check out all the membership options that they have, see what's available for you, and then sign up. Now, after you sign up, you'll have the ability to go to some of these regional conferences that they're going to be having, or you can go to the annual conference that they have every year in that February-March time zone, where you can really get face-to-face with a lot of the biggest names in the industry, and they're fully accessible. You can ask them all the questions you want. Now, if you can't go live, they're also videotaping, so you can get all this stuff in video after the fact. So even though you can't make it live, you're not missing out on all the great information. nbbqa.org. That's nbbqa.org. Org. Korg. Isn't that a keyboard? nbbqa.org. And tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. Why not? We are back with the embedded correspondence right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner or professional, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. Barbecue Buzzed Company wrote into me through the instant chat and was like, weather permitting, shoulder shrug, Laughing face, laughing face. I'm kidding. I cook in any and all of it. There's something that is prohibiting me from rolling that grill out, and we'll leave it at that. But once I do, because in Cleveland, it could be snowing today and 80 tomorrow and then snowing the next day. Doesn't matter. I'm used to it. I will get out there and cook in oven mode, in grill mode, in grill oven mode, in oven grill mode. Doesn't matter. I'll make sure that we take care of it. Nevertheless, joining me now, damn it. Right, well, stand by. I got to fix something here, gents. Background, box 1. Guest 1. Box 2. Guest 2. Box 3. Guest 3. I got... Oh, crap. Stand by. All right, now we got it going. Jeez. We welcome in the embedded correspondents. I forgot to change the four-way when I had Sam, the cooking guy, and Chris Young on that show where I was accused of dropping the C word. An impromptu 100% assurity question here. We'll start with Doug. Doug, I know you listened to that segment, 100% yes or 100% no. I dropped the C word during the Sam, the cooking guy, Chris Young mashup.
100% no, but I'm going to re-listen.
No, don't do that. John, 100% yes or 100% no? I dropped the C word on the Sam/Chris Young mashup.
100% no.
Rusty?
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude. You did. You're crazy.
I don't know about that, but that's how we play the game here with 100% assurity. All right, so let's go and tackle Clubhouse here just for 1 second. There's only one person in here, and if Robert Salazar is so inclined to jump in here, I'll see him pop up, and we will allow him to take part in the 100% assurity questions here. All right, so he's up there. Let me go over here and unmute. Robert, you there? Robert? Robert. This just never works. Stand by. Go into the audio settings, duos. Yeah, that should be working, right? Absolutely. All right. Let's see if this works. Go to Joe Martinez. Joe, you there?
Yes, sir.
Can barely hear you. Why is that? Oh, crap. All right. Stand by again. What a nightmare. All right, Robert or Joe, you there? Joe? Oh, okay. Yeah, all right. Hold on. I got to go here. We are so almost there. How about now, Joe?
Can you hear me now?
You know, no, it's just not good. I'm sorry, Joe. This is my fault. I apologize. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I can barely hear him. This is an issue. I had restarted the computer, and now my audio sound card isn't picking up for some reason. I apologize, Joe. You did good. This is my fault this time. Anyway, long way to go to play 100% assurity questions, and here we go. Let's start with John Solberg. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Sitting off to me directly to my right is the longest-running embedded correspondent from Texas, Doug Scheiding. And below me, the second longest-running embedded correspondent from the state up north, John Solberg from Michigan. And catty corner below me from the great city of Utah, Rusty Monson of Salt City Barbecue and the associated food trailer. All right, here we go. Doug, 100% yes or 100% no? You have full brand awareness of Broil King.
Can you spell or use that in a sentence? Because I'm not real.
Doug, you there?
Yeah, I am. No.
We got a.
No.
I think we got an internet issue. All right.
Yeah, I tried it again. No.
All right. Rusty.
Decently. I have a decent knowledge.
Yeah? Oh, good. John, 100% yes or 100% no? You have full brand awareness of Broil King.
I'm going to go with yes. I have a brand awareness.
Good. Next question, Rusty. The rub market is oversaturated.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, by the way, I didn't answer on the Broil King. I would have said no, but until 2 weeks ago, now I have full visibility, yes. Doug, we'll go up to you. 100% yes or 100% no? The rub market is oversaturated.
I'll say yes as I release 3 rubs next month.
All right, John Solberg, 100% yes or 100% no? The rub market is oversaturated.
100% yes. Don't forget my hashtag, pimp the rub.
Don't
forget to pimp the rub, everybody.
For me, is the rub market oversaturated? I believe we make this 100% majority of the assurity. This one isn't in the notes, but 100% yes or 100% no because it's the YouTube poll question of the week. Doug, did you listen to this past Friday's Best Moments show?
Yes, I did.
Oh! Rusty?
Yeah. I did.
Wait, was that a yes?
Yes, that was a yes. That was my impersonation of you.
Thank you. I'm not slow. I'm not too quick on the pickup. John, I don't have to ask you, and of course I did. We both did. John made the show, for those of you that were wondering. Next question, we go to John. John, would you rather koji a steak for dry-aged flavor versus waiting the actual time to have that steak sit in a real dry-aged machine?
100% yes.
Oh!
I would rather koji.
Oh. Rusty, 100% yes or 100% no? You would rather koji a steak for dry-aged flavor than wait the actual time for a real dry-aged steak?
Sounds good to me, man. That sounds awesome. I'm down for it. Yes.
Mr. Positivity has returned to the Barbecue Central show. Doug, yes or no?
I have a Amazaki on the way. Yes.
Oh, all right. Amazaki. And I believe we have reached the second assurity. What do they call it? The second assurity majority. I say yes. Wow, it's a tough second hour all of a sudden. And we had such a great first hour, and the second hour is going down like the Hindenburg, but that's all right. That's why we do it live, right? That's right. That's why we do it live. All right, next question. We'll go back to Doug. Odd question here, but you have eaten duck heart and testicle paste.
No.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Huh. John, yes or no?
Wait, is this thing together? Can I say duck heart, no
Yes.
testicle paste? I mean,
together,
yeah,
a
duck
paste
heart, yes.
of duck heart and testicle paste.
Oh, no.
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 Get that big stuff out of here.
Rusty, yes or no? 100%ly, you have eaten duck heart and testicle paste.
100% yes on the duck heart, and definitely want to try testicle paste. Sounds awesome.
No. It's duck heart and testicle
together
paste.
You just
yes.
John can separate. Oh well, then you know what? Then no. But
no. All right.
It sounds awesome. It sounds great.
Now, if I go back to John for a second, John, you have had duck heart, testicle.
Yes, two separate
things. Yes,
but
Rusty,
not together.
You have had duck heart, testicle.
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Look at you guys. Well, we've gone from two majority majorities to just me. I have eaten the aforementioned duck heart and testicle paste from the Koji guy. I mean, every part of me wanted to push that spoon away, but also I didn't want to be. That's why, when I watch these TV shows and somebody's getting murdered on the street of a populated area and nobody calls the cops because they think somebody else is doing it, and that person just dies in the street because 20 people just watched thinking somebody else was doing it. Well, that's the same thing that happened to me when I was in Larder. He held that spoon of heart testicle paste. I was like, oh, I didn't want to do that, but I had to do it, I guess. I got bullied into eating it. Hey, it tasted great. When you guys come down for the first ever Embedded Correspondence Summit in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, we're going to go to Larder, and we're all going to have a spoonful of heart testicle paste. And now we'll go to Rusty. Jeremy Umansky has made a successful bid for the 2023 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame.
Yeah, man, I think so. I think you did a great job. Yeah.
I know it's only his second time in, but of course, qualifications to become a potential Guest Hall of Fame member is you only have to be on the show once, of course. Doug, 100% yes or 100% no. Jeremy Umansky has made a successful bid for the 2023 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame.
Yes, I have him as part of my best moments list for this year.
All right. And we go to the foremost expert of the show, John Solberg. Yes or no, Jeremy Umansky has made a successful bid for the 2023 Barbecue Central Show's Guest Hall of Fame?
I'm riding with my brothers over there, yes.
Yeah. Oh,
sweet.
Certainly it would come to nobody's shock that I would also agree, which, by the way, is the third surety majority that we have had on here. I don't recall us agreeing so much on a run of 100% surety questions. In fact, I like it better when three of us begin to start that majority and then one of us comes out and undercuts everybody else. But that's all right. Or maybe I said that right. Maybe I said that wrong. All right. One last question, and we'll go to John. John, the Bob Trudnak Mo Cason restaurant in Huntsville, Texas, will stay open longer than a year.
I'm going to say yes. It'll stay open longer than a year. Could be wishful thinking, but that's where I'm going.
Rusty, 100% yes or 100% no. Bob Trudnak and Mo Cason's restaurant in Huntsville, Texas, will stay open longer than a year.
100% yes.
By the way, there is another one or two business partners in there that I guess at least to us aren't as notable, but there are other business partners in that thing as well. I will answer it now since this was Doug's question. He can answer last. Do I think that this restaurant will be open longer than a year? Undoubtedly. I would say 10 years at a minimum. This is something that I believe Bob and Mo and other business partners are fully into. And I know Mo had talked about a restaurant in some form or fashion, maybe a licensing agreement out there in Des Moines, which has not come to fruition, at least to my knowledge and research. But this one is obviously happening. So I believe it will definitely be open longer than a year. We go to the author of the question, Doug Scheiding. Doug, 100% yes or 100% no. Bob Trudnak and Mo Cason's restaurant in Huntsville, Texas will stay open longer than a year.
You got your wish. No.
What a dick. Why not?
I'm just not sure the partnership of all the mouths to feed, et cetera, is going to
Too many cooks in the kitchen, as you would say?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
All right. Rusty, you're somebody that is in the food service business these days. You aspire to be a brick and mortar owner. Can you have too many cooks in the kitchen, as it were?
If things are going good, you absolutely can. If things are going bad, you absolutely cannot.
John, do you think it's a form of, could there be too many cooks in the kitchen? We agree, three of us at least, three of us agree that it's going to be open longer than a year. But, I mean, do you see it as a long-term venture, or could egos get in the way of some sort?
I don't even want to say what I'm thinking. It's like,
yes,
you don't want to
do.
hear it. It's like, all right, if Bob can swim with that boat anchor tied around him, he'll be okay. So we got Bob who can run the thing, and you got the name recognition of the boat anchor.
Whoa! Wow!
I told you didn't want to hear what I had to say.
Oh, I did.
I told you it's like, so can Bob stay afloat with that anchor around his neck? That's his friend, and I'm sorry. I'm going to mute my mic now.
Look, I think I don't know. First of all, I'm seeing this from the high level, just as you guys are. Number one. Number two, I know Bob as a business guy from Barbecue Guru only. I don't know him as having any type of expertise running a barbecue restaurant. Number two. Number three, the partners who I guess we don't seem to know by name could have a storied, successful past in the restaurant business, and they're the smart restaurant people of this bunch. Speculation on my point, and maybe that's the expertise that they're bringing, and Mo and Bob are bringing cooking technique, menu, recipes. Mo has some huge-ass cooker that's down there. I don't know if that's something that's going to be stationed there long-term, or if it's just on temporary assignment and they're getting other stuff built by Mill Scale or Moberg or whoever the big Texas offset boys are anymore these days that are going to get installed there. But I'm interested, to say the least, on what the inner workings is like, which is why I'm going to effort a actual conversation with the parties involved to see how this whole thing is going to work out. Because I'm not nearly as skeptical as Doug is, but that's a lot of people to be bringing into a business venture like this, especially in a volatile business venture like this. So, of course, when it's going great, as Rusty said, everything's great. But I have a feeling if it goes bad, this is one of those things that could crater like in rocket ship type speed. And then I don't know who the other people are. I would hate to see this become a point of contention between Bob and Mo, because I think they're like the coolest duo out in barbecue right now, and maybe they would be able to separate business. We're talking about things that aren't even happening right now, so I will do my part. I will effort the interview with Bob and Mo, and we'll be able to talk about all that stuff and go from there. All right, you guys stand by here, and we'll get to the second portion of this segment here in just one moment as I do a quick piece of business with Green Mountain Grills. Now, this is bittersweet for me because at 10:32 on what will be the last show in March, I am here to affectionately say this is the last read that you will hear from Green Mountain Grills. Say it ain't so.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Now, I'm not saying anything other than this is the last read from a sponsorship standpoint that you will hear on this show. There has been no love that we've fallen out of with Green Mountain Grills. I love Jason Baker with all my heart, as much as a man can love another man in a manly way. I do. And he has been, I think, the second longest running sponsor of the show, outside of what was the Barbecue Guru before that whole thing was taken over by Flame Boss. So we say goodbye to the second longest running sponsor of the show for years, well over a decade. But the grills are still out there. I would say if you are in the market for something that's better than entry level, you want something that's going to be reliable, cooks really well, gives you a lot of space. There's a couple different things to choose from, a prime line or a choice line. If you want a lot of the bells and whistles that are currently on a lot of the other pellet cookers, then you're going to look at that prime line. If you don't care about any of that, you don't mind saving some money as well, then the choice line is the one you want to use. It has been quite simply my honor to have had the privilege of bringing you the promotion of Green Mountain Grills over these last 10-plus years. It's been my honor of knowing Jason Baker, who I will continue to know through the rest of my life, as a very ethical business person. And at this point, they have to stop with the show, which is fine. Maybe things change down the road. Who knows? I doubt it. But this is where we are right now as we close out March. So I would just like to say, A, consider Green Mountain Grills still while they're currently available. Buy them up. They're great grills. I have 2 of them on my back porch, and they are old, and they are working really well, and I'm a big fan. I'm also a big fan of the whole family and the business they've been able to put together, and I just want to thank them for everything. So thank you, Green Mountain Grills, greenmountaingrills.com. Find a dealer near you, and we'll be back with more embedded correspondence right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we welcome you back to the Barbecue Central Show, where we're joined by the embedded correspondents. Doug Scheiding is right next to me, John Solberg right below me, and Rusty Monson catty corner below me, or directly to the right of John Solberg. Texas, Michigan, and the great city of Utah, respectively. And the YouTube poll question of the week, currently weighing in at 54% of you saying that you did listen to the Best Moments show this past Friday. So, again, if you're just new to the show or you're just signing up for the podcast feed and you're anxiously awaiting part 2 or the Best Moments this coming week, it is the second part of the first show ever. So go back and listen to last Friday's show so at least you have the right context and it makes sense to you. And then send in your emails on how weird it sounds or make the noises that Rusty made. But, you know, what can you say? In 2006 was a little bit of a different time than it was. But, John, you're an expert of the show. What are your feelings when you listen to that? You know how highly guarded I was of those first dozen that are not on the internet. They're still on my hard drive. You have a shared file of those at this point, but when you listen back to that, I'm just anxious to hear what's running through your mind.
I was not at all offended by the audio quality, not one single solitary bit. And you know, I am probably equally an audio snob as yourself. But the content of the show alone, it didn't matter. The content was that precious to me as a listener the first time I listened to it. Audio was gone. It evaporated. I was like, I didn't want that show to end. That show it's just a piece of magic to me. So the audio quality disappeared based on the content.
Let's dig in, as I did with Derrick Riches in the second segment of the first hour. I want to dig in a little bit on a company that I've become recently fascinated with, and that's Broil King. John, let's go back and start with you. You are, as you said, for the Assurity questions, fully aware or fully brand aware of Broil King. But I had told Derrick, I think, that here's a company that's doing a lot of things that a lot of people would probably appreciate, but I don't think hardly anybody even considers them or really knows them unless you're geeks like us in the industry. Do you have any suggestions on becoming or having them become a more well-known or more conversed name in the industry?
Well, they could start by getting on the show and sponsoring a little bit. That would be the big first step. And then from point, I mean, but you don't see them out there. I mean, they have a story, you know, the Onward company or whoever that mothership company is. You know, you don't see them anywhere. You don't hear this American Canadian made thing anywhere. I mean, they're just not out there. They're not on social media. They're not. Are they doing something? If they are, I've certainly missed it. I've not seen their presence anywhere in our electronic world.
Have you ever cooked on any of their cookers?
Older ones. I've actually restored some of the older ones in my time. But, you know, they, in my head, and they kind of had a high, their quality went down, went up. It was a bit of a roller coaster. Seems like now they're trying to come back strong to where they were, a couple decades ago.
Rusty, as somebody who is anxious to make a mark in your particular part of the business world, suggestions for a grill manufacturer? We're obviously talking about Broil King specifically here, but how would you tell them to best get their story out? What do they need to do to become a name that's more conversed when people are looking to buy grills?
Well, it's just like, Traeger did. They shoved it in everyone's face. They created a tribe, of people who wanted to. I like it when people get ambassadors and things like that to use their stuff. That I think that's really something that works really well, because we look up to a lot of cooks, and if they're using Broil King, then they'll want to use Broil King. It's just like rubs. Rubs are oversaturated, but if you're a fan of Doug Scheiding, you're going to buy his stuff, and that's how you sell it these days, And so I think it's putting people like that in front of that product and getting the word out that way. And then, of course, just, becoming something that people want to be a part of. It's like you're not even selling products necessarily. You're selling the idea of being a part of something. And that's what they should be doing, because I think they do gas grills and stuff like that, right? So, got to bring that and make that cool again. I guess it's pretty cool from like some people that, I don't talk to, but, just bring that back, make it cool again somehow, and create a tribe. Get some people on board.
Doug, you're part of the Traegerhood, as it were. You've seen a master marketing team, as Rusty said, get in people's faces, influencers of all kinds, any kinds really, and dominate for a day or two or three a release of a product. You've seen it with the Flat Rock. We saw it with the revamped Ironwood. We saw it with the Traeger Timberline XL. A lot of great marketing stuff coming from Traeger that I'm sure everybody's jealous about. So what would your suggestion be to a Broil King to get more in the conversation when people are looking to buy?
You hit the nail right on the head. As a recovering engineer, and I say this with peace and love, they act like a company that's operated by engineers, and their marketing is driven by engineers. That is, Traeger makes great products, but what's better than their products is the marketing team, in my opinion. They have great marketing, in my opinion. So, if you Google Broil King, because I'm like, yeah, Broil King, I've heard of them and stuff. I thought they weren't even in big box stores. Derrick said they were in Lowe's. I guess they're in Home Depot. I go to Home Depot all the time. I've never noticed one of their grills. Now, I see the Traeger grills. They're right up front, but I've never noticed a Broil King grill. So, they're made in Indiana. When you Google them, you know what pops up for a distributor of Broil King? Leslie Pools. Well, hell, if I don't have a pool, I'm going to think, okay, they're kind of a small player. I'm never going to go into it. And so I would never be exposed to it. That was my first impression when I Googled them. So, yeah, marketing is the big thing. I guess they're about 1/10 the size of Traeger right now at 55 million from what I could tell. And I guess their grills are made in Indiana. So I did a little bit of research, but I learned more about, 10 times more about Broil King in 5 minutes of research than I knew before that 5 minutes.
Well, I was brand name aware, as I had mentioned before, but I wasn't fully versed in the amount of products that they had. Derrick said they have 30 brands of gas grills or 30 different SKUs in just the gas grill. Plus they have pellet cookers. Plus they have charcoal cookers. And I think they either have or might have been coming out with their own flat top cooker too. So they're fully covering every part of the live fire market that everybody's into at this point. And they have 2 manufacturing plants here in the States. They have 1 in Canada. They're fully North American manufacturers. They have gone out of their way to minimize the Chinese content as much as they are able to. The owner told me that there are some parts that you just have to get from China because they're just there. But otherwise, they're doing whatever they can to minimize the Chinese content. I mean, you talk to people all the time about, I want American-made this, or F the Chinese, or lessen the Chinese. They're living it. They're doing it. The quality seems to be as good or better than what you would normally think of as far as buying a grill, this, that. I agree the marketing is just obviously missing the point. and you might have to go into social media. John talked about, having sponsorship of this show. Certainly we're a live fire. I mean, it's a target audience, right? I mean, you get in front, somebody that's listening to the show has gone and searched barbecue podcast because they're into the industry. Maybe they don't know about Broil King, and now you hear me talk about them. But I have become a real closet believer and want to be a helper of this company that I think should be more, well, I don't know if they should be bigger than they are. I mean, everybody should be bigger than they are if they want to be successful, I guess. But I think they should be in the conversation of every type of fuel cooker that they have for every Tom, Dick, and Harry backyard person that's going to be buying a new grill. So I would love to help in any way, but I am glad that we're all able to chip in our 2 cents here. Now, let's talk about something important. Oh, my God. Last month, we did a follow-up piece with media maven, real expert, John Solberg from Michigan. John, do we have any recaps on the Instagram money take? And where are we sitting at the end of March?
Well, trying to coin a phrase here, we're polishing the brass on the deck of the Titanic as we speak. So it's like, somebody give me some ice, cue the violins. She's going down, baby. We are going down by the stern. Instagram certainly has changed the way that it processes reels, and they've taken their focus away from it. So for those of us who have been involved in reel plays, as some of us speak in the off channels, it is, my engagement has gone from a steady 80,000 a month. I think right this minute I'm like at 14,000.
Wow.
So in the last 60 days, we've lost that kind of lift. And I'm really pushing to make this last sixth bonus payout amount. You always get the money, but you have to reach at least $100 to get payout. So, I'm slowly migrating away from Instagram Reels and taking advice from Gary V and firing up my Facebook Reels, because Gary says there's a vacuum there. And while I'm not looking for monetization, I figure while I'm on this momentum, I'm going to listen to Gary and start making that switch over there and bow out of Instagram Reels slowly. And all of you will be relieved with me going away at some point of my non-interesting content.
When you go over to Facebook Reels, since Instagram was owned by Facebook, does that all transition over to the Facebook Reel side? Will you be making money there too, or is that going to be a whole different process?
Whole new game. Even if you were choose to be meta verified, which I was considering becoming meta verified, you have to pick. You can be meta verified on both platforms, but you pay for each platform. So they are treated separately.
How much is that?
So it is. It's meta verified when it becomes available, which is rolling out in the U.S. is $14.99 a month, and basically what you're getting for that is customer service.
Huh.
That's what you're getting for it. A lot of hubbub about that, in that, not to bore anyone, but people say, why are we paying for customer service? And my answer to that is because you're using a platform for free, you dumbass. You want customer service like you bought something from Meta. You didn't buy nothing. So pay. That's a topic for another day.
So you are going to be looking to transition success from Instagram over to Facebook. Now, of course, we'll be watching there, and we'll be looking for an update in April, of course, and see. Hopefully, you've been approached to take some of Facebook's or Meta's money, even though you've been taking some of Meta's money, but on this particular platform, whatever. All right, Doug, what do you have coming up?
Coming up, I am going on Monday to Fargo, North Dakota, to Shields University. I guess Shields is a hardware, outdoor sports type chain. They have 28 locations.
Huge.
They're bringing it's much bigger than I thought.
It's
just
like
Broil
Menards
King.
Jr., from what I was understanding.
Yeah, it sounds like they're mostly in the north. They do have one location here in Texas. I did, oddly enough, look at the weather. And this morning it said 3.2 inches of snow on Tuesday.
Oh.
Then this afternoon it said 4.2. And then 7.3.
Oh, we missed like 80% of that.
Yeah, it went from 3.2 to 7.3 inches of snow today.
Oh,
so it's good. It's for a Texas boy, that's going to be a little cold and a little nasty.
Yeah.
But there's going to be 20 of us, including Brad Leiniger, will be there. And we will have 5 of their employees, and we're going to have a brisket contest.
Oh,
the different teams.
Are you heading up a team? Oh my God.
Yeah. Yes, I will be leading one of the teams.
Oh, all right. So it's you and Leiniger, and who else is in this competition?
Chad Ward is going to be there. No, Dan Arnold and CJ will be there.
Clarence Joseph?
Yeah, Clarence Joseph. So, and I'm not
How
sure
do you
I had
get
heard
picked for this? This is a Traeger thing?
Traeger.
Oh.
No, Traeger only has like 4 or 5 people of the 20. So yeah, they've got, I think they're probably a decent sized dealer if they're doing this.
Wow. All right. Well, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
Rusty,
that will be fun.
you are ready to make an exclusive announcement here on this show.
Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
Greg Rempe reporting for the Breaking News Desk here in Cleveland, Ohio. The state that breaks the most breaking news across the nation. Hey! The globe. Joined by Rusty Monson in Utah. Rusty, take it away.
So, as a food truck artist, I listen to podcasts all the time, and I got to be honest, it is an extremely lacking department as far as podcasts go. And I listened to one particularly that just got to my nerves, and it's almost as if, like, in Batman when they shine the light into the clouds. I looked up and I saw that, and I realized that this podcast niche needs me.
Oh.
And I'm going to start a food truck podcast. Very similar, in fact, very, very same as the Pitmasters podcast, but food trucks.
Really?
So, yes.
Look at you. Now, you're turning into the new version of Sean Walchef, host of many different podcasts. Look at you.
So we'll see. It's it's a lot, but it's something I like to do. I love to learn about the subjects that I am passionate about, and this is, I found with the Pitmasters podcast, a great way to basically Highlander these people, take their heads off, and take all their powers, and it's the best way I know how. So it's something that's a little bit selfish, but also I hope that everyone learns along the way, and mostly probably trying to talk people out of it. That's my goal. So
Rusty, are you going to be sole boating this, or are you going to have a co-host?
I'm going to do it by myself.
Huh.
Just me. So alone.
All right.
So, yeah, I'm going to do it by myself, and I'm going to rely on my guests for, the ultimate entertainment, and to keep that thing going, and all that stuff. So I think I can do it by myself.
So look, hosting a podcast, as you know, Rusty, is a lot of work. The Pitmasters podcast is you and thee doing it. Some might argue that you're the heavy lifter and he's the lightweight, but that's up to the listener's opinion. I have no opinion on any of that. Certainly John doesn't, or Doug. But is this a podcast where, I'm not going to say it's easy, but you could set it up in a way where you have, let's say, you're going to have, Doug from Texas is a successful food truck. Maybe you're going to have Joe Martinez, who's, my new quarterly guest here, who's just recently opened a barbecue trail. You're going to have 10 sketched out questions, and every guest is going to talk about those 10 questions because you're going to get a variety of answers anyway. Can you do it that easy and prep to help you because you have Pitmasters podcast? Now you're going to have this podcast. Oh, by the way, you have the food trailer. Oh, by the way, you like to compete. Quickly, time is evaporating.
Yeah, and so I think that with that, the 10 questions is obviously something that you should do, and it's how I started the Pitmaster podcast. But then you find that when you're passionate about something, the questions just kind of come. And so you want to learn from them, so you want to ask the questions as if you're someone who's learning it yourself. And so that, yeah, but it's going to be definitely the same so you people can learn, from all angles and all different kinds of cuisines and things like that.
When is it going to launch?
I'm hoping I would like to get a couple in the bag before I start it up.
Yeah.
Hopefully about 8 or 9, but I know I realized how many food truckers I know, so it's not going to be hard to book those and get those out and bust it out. And I already know the format. Just need to get a couple things like the logo, intro, and stuff like that. So
Well, I didn't think we would have a closeout 100% assurity question, but we sure do. John, 100% yes or 100% no. Rusty's new podcast will make it less than 1 year.
Bite your tongue. That's yes, he's going to make it more than a year.
Right.
And I'm going to help him and listen, do whatever I can to support him. And you need an editor or something, Rusty, I'm going in because you're doing it alone. And I'll even listen to this podcast because it's you by yourself.
Doug, 100% yes or 100% no. Rusty's new podcast will make it less than a year.
I think
I'm asking
it's
a double
going to last
negative.
longer than a year.
Right.
Yeah, it's so I guess no.
Right. For me, 100% yes or 100% no. Rusty's podcast is going to make it less than a year. I say 100% no.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Now let's go to the only person that matters. Rusty, 100% yes or 100% no. This podcast is going to be less than a year.
It is going to be decades.
Decades. All right.
Decades.
I mean, could you see it going 2 years?
I'm going to be the Greg Rempe of the Food Truck Podcast. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay. Let's not get too aggressive there, pal. I got 17 years in this. That's like sacrilege. But I appreciate the motivation and confidence. All right, let's do a little promo time here before we call it an evening. Rusty will stay with you. Anything you have coming up or that you would like to promote?
Yeah, this Thursday, listen to us talk to Ken Perkins, who recently won the World Championship SCA Steak Cook off.
John, promotion?
Hey, I'm going out with a self-promo. Head over to JS00 on Instagram and help push me out to my final payout in 10 days. That's JS00. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right, Doug, promo aside from the Shields event?
Yeah, I'm going to be on an upcoming episode of Baseball and Barbecue where we interview Meathead.
Baseball and Barbecue with your host, Doug Scheiding, and his co-host, Jeff Hollywood Aberman, and the old coot, Jeff Cohen. Okay. All right, guys. Appreciate you joining me as always, and we will see you in April. I have never heard of a co-host have more Doug just needs to be on the podcast like weekly. When are you not on the podcast, Doug? I mean, it's like twice a month at least. They should just put you on the show. You're a barbecue guy. You're a baseball guy. Len and Jeff, just fold him into the show for crying out loud. This I'm making a demand. Or I will ban your show. Include Doug fully, or I will ban the show. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, let's go ahead and make tracks out of here as I take this out and move this around all the way back in the first hour. Who did we have? Dustin Green from Weber. Remember that? Feels like 2 days ago. But no, it was just at the 9:14 hour. Dustin Green, Weber's Grillmaster. We talked about the new flat top. We talked about the potential resurgence of kettle grill. We talked about the griddle insert for gas grills. I pressed him on some business stuff, and he was like, I want to answer that. Then we talked with Derrick Riches. We missed him last month, so we caught up. We played a brand new game called Weak or Strong. I thought that went over like gangbusters. If you're just tuning in, get the podcast tomorrow so you can hear it. And then we went in depth on Royal King, how they've evolved over the many decades and what they need to do to potentially be in the conversation a little bit more and raise that brand awareness, because Derrick and I are lovers of that company, by and large lovers. Second hour, embedded correspondence, 100% assurity questions, and then we wrapped it up with some John Solberg Instagram, now Meta Talk. We talked with Doug Scheiding, who will be appearing at Shields University in Fargo, North Dakota. And Rusty talked about his plans to release a brand new podcast talking about food trucks, because there is a dearth of content regarding food truck podcasts. Big show planned for you next week. Also, during the course of this week, I'll roll out a couple extra bonus content episodes from the 2023 HPB Expo. We'll have Bull Products, and we'll have Pro Q left to go, I believe. Maybe one or two more, but be on the lookout for those aside from the regular show recaps or show podcast here that'll be generated from tonight's show. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Reppy. Bye-bye.
Hi, this is Stover, the barbecue hunk. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Have a hunky day.